Okay, I have a confession.
They're all gonna want to take showers afterwards.
Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
This is so sexy.
Oh my goodness.
I had a huge daddy fetish.
Bound to go wow wow.
All right, well, welcome to Sex Tales.
Hi, welcome. Is this like the first actual episode? Can we say the first episode, Melissa?
I think we can. I think we can say this is the kickoff episode. So we have our most special guest, Jack.
Aww.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, this is really exciting for Vanniall and I to get a chance to interview fellow cammers.
Right.
I feel we have always looked up to you guys, as many people in the camming space do. Yeah, so let's start at the beginning too, because if you guys don't know about Jack and Jill, let's start at the beginning. They are an actual real couple. Tell us a story about how you guys met and decided to become camming partners.
So we met a really long time ago.
Yeah, we were 19.
Yeah, and we're a lot older now.
Yeah.
So we've been together for a long time.
You still look 19.
The check's in the mail, all right? So we sat next to each other in class, and we joked that we lived farther from campus than one another. That was kind of the joke, and we found out we were neighbors.
Like a literal, like 2-minute walk.
Yeah, like we were lived very close to one another. Yeah. So it's kind of how we met.
So we were together quite a while before we even knew what.
Yeah, I think 8 or 9 years went by before we actually started.
Right. What actually intrigued you into starting? What made you want to start? Was there anything specifically?
Unfortunately, it's the obvious one. It was money. So, Jill and I both went to college and we pulled out student loans to go to school, and we were 6 figures deep. I kind of did the math one night on an Excel spreadsheet, and I was like, we're going to be in our 40s by the time we pay this off.
Yeah. And we were living in the Bay Area in California at the time, and it was very expensive, and he had moved for a promotion for work, and we're like, oh, this is going to be great. Yeah. But then once we started actually living and spending money, we're like, wow,
it didn't really make sense.
This is really difficult.
And Jill was doing an unpaid internship at the time.
Yeah.
So it was a little tough. So we kind of just needed to, we needed another income stream. And we had tried several things, several vanilla non-sex work-related stuff. And then we landed on
They don't pay like Canon pays.
We were walking people's dogs.
we were.
Wait, what'd you say?
We were walking people's dogs. That was the hustle before.
Oh,
that
really?
That was the one that actually worked.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But it wasn't, wasn't good money. But we ended up watching a documentary about webcamming, and we're like,
called Sex Now.
Yeah. And we're like, we should do this.
We could do that.
You absolutely could do it, and you did do it. So from starting to now, having done what you've done, what are some of the most significant changes you've noticed in your life from then to now?
Oh, man. Well,
I'm going to guess you've paid off your student loans at this point.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely did.
Nice.
Our lifestyle's changed significantly since then. From our, 1-bedroom apartment, we live in our own home now. We've got an amazing house, but we're more scheduled and professional now, I would say. We've got a whole lot new technology. We know a lot of people in the industry. I mean, it's kind of not the best answer, but everything's changed.
Yeah, I mean, our whole lifestyle's changed.
Yeah.
I mean,
it sounds like
we used to
better too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 99% of it's for the better.
Yeah. I felt like our life was really rushed when we had our normal jobs, because we were doing both. We were working and camming, and
for 5
we would
years
work our jobs, then
Monday
rush to get
Friday.
Home. try to
and we
fit
cam
in
on
shows.
Saturday and Sunday was our schedule. We just camped normally 2 days a week. So and then I was getting my master's too during that time. So
so I just felt like our we didn't really spend, even though we were together all the time, we never really spent time together because we were rushing so much to try
we were
to
in work mode
make
constantly
this work.
and just always short of sleep.
Yeah. So now it's just like a flow.
Yeah. Do you think that that flow came with like the flow of figuring out your cammings? Like, I don't know when I simplified it, just your camming schedule, but
No,
do you think that that's just sort of like a...
So our camming schedule came out of necessity initially. There's a little bit of like financial desperation when we started, so we were camming a little bit more than 2 days a week at the very beginning. But I feel like we hit our stride and got our schedule down at least after like a year or so.
Yeah, I don't know, and we're learning to like delegate more and like get more help because we're just so used to doing everything ourselves. We've had a hard time like letting go of that role and like so that we can be like produce more, do more things,
or just have some more free time and actually just enjoy our life.
Yeah. So we're still learning.
That's the next stage of like learning is we've started delegating things. Giving up your editing is like a very difficult thing to give up.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Recently passed that off.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do, to give up your editing. Like, editing feels like organic. It feels good to edit something that I've just done. But like to that time and that space that I get back from not sitting and editing all day,
it's huge.
Like, it's priceless.
And only you know about like what you want to cut out, and that you don't like the way you look when you're facing this way, and you would normally cut it out, but someone else thinks you look great, and then it's just
right.
What were your very first cam shows like when you got it? Did you know what you were doing, or were you just winging it?
We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I have to admit, we made a very common mistake that when we got a token, we thought it was $1. That was our first stream.
Yeah, I think we got 100 tokens, and we were
like $100.
Hold up, we better start doing something now.
Yeah, it's kind
for
of
reference.
But...
if the audience doesn't know, 1 token is 5 cents. So
we're
talking like $5 here. Yeah. So what are your shows like now? Because I know what they're like. They're pretty impressive.
You know personally what they're like. They're a little more structured now. There's parts of it that are free flowing and kind of. There's parts where we improv like questions a lot of the time. The beginning of our shows, we just talk. So a lot of times we'll just feel people out and just kind of try to figure out what to ask them. And if you're a repeat guest, we don't spend a ton of time.
But we find that our viewers, we always say to ourselves, do we need to change things? Like, what should we do different? But a lot of times people like what they're used to seeing. They just want to see maybe like a new room or a new guest. But they really do, I think, like consistency and like familiarity. You
can't make everyone happy. I feel like half the people want something new, and then half the people are like, why'd you change things? They like something familiar. So you can't really make everyone happy.
Yeah.
No, I was going to ask you, so you guys started out camming as a couple. When did you start introducing guests on your show? Because I know that's a really big part of your shows these days.
After about a year, right?
Yeah. And we just worked with one woman in particular just for like a full year. We just did threesomes only with her.
Yeah.
And we really only introduced other people after that. But it really wasn't until probably like 3 years ago that we started having like more variety
acting like
of
producers.
Guests. Yeah, because we really just worked with the same like, I don't know,
4 or 5 people.
Yeah, I was gonna say about
we
5
had like
people
a friend
rotation.
group, and we would introduce them to one another, and
it was like all locals.
Yeah.
That people that we kind of like really met like in person and invited on our show. So it was like real amateurs, which I feel like that's kind of hard to find these days. Like everybody knows about OnlyFans and Pornhub and stuff.
Yeah.
When we were starting, it was like some people had just never heard of webcamming.
And people were excited by webcamming.
Yeah. So
they're like, I've heard of this. This sounds like fun.
But yeah, for that first year, it was really just that one person. I think it was good for us to kind of like figure out like what was okay between us and like how to work with a third and
boundaries.
Yeah. I think that was important. We always tell people that when they're thinking about inviting a third person, whether it's like in their personal life or on cam, like to take it slow. Like
figure out this first before you add someone else.
People don't think about that at all.
No.
As you guys are moving into the land of producing, I know you guys are doing your own VR thing now. Do you feel like virtual reality is the future of your production? Or do you feel like maybe
I would stop short of saying it's the future. And like, do you mean like in adult content production in general, or for us in particular?
For you guys specifically, do you feel like that's where you're gonna put your chips?
No, I think we've put as much chips there as we're going to. I may upgrade a camera or two, or add another one, or move one around, but our live streams are kind of the backbone of our production. So we've added VR into our live streams. We don't do VR shoots per se, because VR shoots are like fundamentally different than normal shoots. They're very staged. They're very sterile, and they're not very fun, to be completely honest. I've done a few of them. Melissa's like going like this. I think she may have done one.
It's rough.
It's rough. Yeah, you always got to stare into the camera and stuff.
Choppy, and that's something you guys don't do. You're very natural and comfortable and sensual about everything you do. And I think people are gonna flip over all of this VR content you have, because it's not like anything that's out on the internet right now. It's very organic.
Right. It is. It's not like 90% of the VR content out there. And some people love that, and some people hate it.
Yeah. They're like, I don't get it.
But,
but then some people in the comments that know our like 2D videos will like be like, this is
or
a live
the fact
show.
that we're live streaming. The degree of difficulty with shooting VR with live streaming is just, I can't like explain how difficult it is to juggle all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the best we can.
Yeah, you have some positions I think that look more VR.
Yeah, they'll hit on 2D and 3D.
Yeah.
But
which
yeah,
ones? Tell us. What are the best positions for 2 and 3D, 4D, whatever?
Point of view doggy is definitely a big one.
Ooh,
and I think some of the oral that we do.
Yeah. Again, all the point of view stuff, actually, because when people watch VR, they want to feel like they are the man sitting there.
Right.
That's like the fundamental draw of VR, is you get to feel like you are the male.
I actually really love VR porn as well. I like being in that male perspective. I don't know why. Jill, have you ever thrown on a headset and watched some VR porn?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
know, it's incredible.
It's great.
I've made her watch it. I'm like, you need to see what we're doing, what I'm doing. Because for a while, it was like, there was 100% me.
Yeah,
with the cameras, with the shooting.
There wasn't a lot of places for him to put it, because it's such a large file. So we didn't really have a lot of places to kind of present it. But then these other like VR sites popped up, and now there's like a place.
It's kind of a silly story. I feel kind of dumb, but actually I started recording in 2020 my VR stuff. I didn't edit anything for 8 months. I had my intuition that was like, you need to get a VR camera. I got this cheap $300 VR camera, which is cheap for as far as VR cameras go. And I just slapped it on top of my stuff. It just started recording everything. I recorded every scene. I put it on a hard drive, and I just left it. And after about a year, I think we took a couple weeks off because we got like a cold or something. And I just like tore into it, and eventually hired an editor. And it's the gears are very greased now that I just hand someone a memory card and they just run with it. So I don't even have to do anything now. We were talking about delegation earlier. That was one of the first things we really delegated. And I'm so thankful we did that. We've got a great person that really helps us with that.
That's amazing. How big would you say your VR portfolio is now?
In all, it's around 120 films. I think we've released about 40 of them. So we've got a huge backlog. Like I said, I've recorded everything we've done. I can't underscore how amazing it is from a content creation and just like content security perspective. You don't feel like you have to constantly be making new stuff. You're like, well, I always have this to fall back on. And then you can always arrange the stuff you have and release only the good stuff, because some of your scenes are going to be duds. I can't tell you how many times I've smeared coconut oil on a lens, and then later I'm like,
and then it's ruined.
And then it's ruined. Yeah, it's just like watching porn like this.
Yeah.
So what are some other things that you guys do to make sure that your streams are successful by like not getting coconut oil on the lens? Like, is there any other part of the process or the setup to help like make your shows as successful and profitable as possible?
We use multiple cameras. So sometimes if one camera is messed up or something happens, we always have alternate shots. We've got a little bit of redundancy with recording, so we don't lose a recording. And then we just try to have variety in our live streams. Try to have a little talking, a little sensual touch, and then the sexual stuff. So not being one dimensional. And so I feel like you'll always please at least most people that watch. And I feel like that's a really important ingredient for the success.
The most important thing to me personally is that the guest like looks like they're having fun. Like to me, like the chat, they're supposed to be having fun. Like the guest is supposed to be having fun. It's supposed to be this kind of like interactive experience. And I just love going into our room and seeing like our viewers are like talking with each other and like having a good time. That's when I know, like, I'm like, okay, the show's going well.
I also want to add something. Making sure the person you have on with you looks good. If your lighting's good, if the person you have on with you feels like they look sexy and they're looking at themselves, they're like, damn, I look good. What'd you do to make this? Then they'll feel so much more comfortable. If you feel ugly and you're on cam, like it ruins everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's an important thing to mention. Yeah,
it does. Like the people can feel it.
They can.
You mentioned earlier, you mentioned ingredients, and of all that you just mentioned, or anything new, do you feel like any of that is like a secret sauce, like the secret sauce to your like successful camming, or do you think there is a secret sauce?
We've been asked this before.
And I would say it's like a yes and no thing.
Yeah.
There's different sauces for different people. You know, so I think the secret sauce is to play on your strength. If you're really extroverted and you're a great conversationalist, then talk more to people. You know, if you can squirt 8 feet across the room, then you should probably be doing that. You know? Like play on your strength.
Want to see that? Yeah.
And some people do.
I think.
I also just
people will pay for that.
I think this sounds so like. You know, like everyone should know this, but being yourself on cam, like people really can feel if you're genuinely being yourself and having a good time. Like I don't know. I feel like that's
important
the most
for us.
important thing. Like our dynamic together. Like I think people want to see what our relationship is like and how we interact with another guest and like what that looks like for us. People are so interested in understanding that, and I think us just being ourselves. Like,
we're not good at playing characters.
Yeah.
So for us, our sauce is just being ourselves because that's what comes naturally. I'm probably more extroverted versions of ourselves, probably, but other than that, this is us.
Yeah, and then consistency. Like we've always done the same day and the same times, and I always tell people like
Saturday and Sunday.
They're like, okay, well, I cam at this day and this time, and
sometimes
it's different days.
It's
like you really got to try to do your schedule, like really try to be consistent because I feel like people rely on you and like they come to like feel comfortable with you. They're like, okay, no, they're going to be on. It's like a comfort thing.
And you get
that consistency.
Different people at different times. Like people are creatures of habit, and the people you get at 11 a.m. on a weekday are completely different than the ones you get at 5 p.m. on a weekday.
Yeah,
totally different. Yeah,
true.
Versus the weekend people in the mornings.
Yeah,
I think another part of the Jack and Jill secret sauce is the infamous ticket show formula. And we heard about a time that you guys nearly crashed the site over your ticket show. So you guys know what I'm talking about?
I did hear about that.
Do you remember this?
do you want
Tell us the story.
I'm like, is it traumatic? No. It was a little stressful. I'm not gonna lie. No, we flew to Spain to meet our friends Kim and Paulo. They're a couple, and they do cam on Chatterbait too. Just not quite as much. They are kind of dabble in a lot of different things. But we were doing a show with them. It was our first ever.
It was our first time doing swappy stuff. So I feel like that has something to do with it.
Yeah. And I think also people said that they were excited that we like were somewhere different, like a different country, and it was kind of all happening. And we just couldn't.
The app crashed.
Yeah.
And then the site crashed. And then when we came back, and when it finally finished, like rebooting or whatever. While we were selling tickets, nothing worked. All the apps and bots
like it wouldn't start.
weren't working properly. And so I'm not 100% sure if we caused the site to crash or if it just so happened to. So I cannot.
Was there a lot of people in the room?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
just a few.
Just a
few.
It was like
thousands.
over 20,000 people in the room.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yes. And they were pissed. But you know what I will say, and I'm not just saying this because Chatterbait's our platform. Chatterbait stepped up and they made everything right. They made us right. They made all the viewers right. They made sure everyone got their money. It was like a huge source of stress for us, but they made sure all the viewers got their money back and everything.
But we still did the show.
We still did the show.
We did a password show.
Yeah. So some people that paid didn't get to see.
And some people that didn't pay.
But they got refunded and we didn't get left out in the cold. So it was.
Yeah.
I feel like the platform really stepped up. And to this day, I'm like, hey. It was like a turning point for us where I'm like, okay, they're taking care of their broadcasters seriously.
Yeah, because we were like stressing that next day. We're like, okay, we're gonna have to send the video out to free for everyone when we get it edited. Like, what are we gonna do?
Post proof you bought a ticket and then email us, and we got over 500 emails that morning.
It was nonstop. Like,
how are we gonna recover from this like paperwork nightmare?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and then
it was insane.
And then add to it that like we've been talking about doing a swap for years, and we were doing it with someone who had never done one before, and so like in your mind you kind of idealize how it's gonna go. It's gonna be great. Everyone's gonna be comfortable. And then that happened and we're like stressing out. And then, before you know it, I'm trying to get a boner while I'm really stressed out. And it's just very difficult.
But the show ended up going just TMI. Fine. We all like sort of settled in at some point and it was fun. But the beginning was like, oh my God,
very stressful.
Get it together.
Yeah. I love it. That's so crazy.
But it was great.
Maxed out ticket show on CB. Even behind the scenes, crazy. We still talk about it. It's incredible. I think it's just a testament to you guys, what a draw you have because of the type of content you create. And definitely any type of first, like a swap, we got to be there to see it. Everyone's got to be there.
Totally. So, Jack and Jill, is there any ways that you guys are different? And is there any ways that you guys find that you're very particularly the same?
We're so different.
Yeah, we're very different.
We're more, we're more different than we are similar, for sure.
Mm-hmm. A yin and yang.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my mind is all over the place and I think out loud a lot. Like, that's like my train of thought. He's like a very independent worker. She's
very teamwork oriented.
To, make lists.
She talks out loud constantly, and I'm like,
I constantly interrupt him. So sometimes we need separate workspaces. So I don't do.
It, honestly, at its very core, it's like the fundamental differences between a man and a woman.
Well,
kind of the way.
Yeah. Some people are like that.
Yeah,
I would say like stereotypically.
And then I'm, again, stereotypically with men and women. She's better with people, and I'm better with just things and figuring things out, putting things together and taking them apart. And she's just better with people. Sometimes when I get really nervous, I like get quiet. And when she gets nervous, she talks.
Yeah.
So it really works.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Nervous chat.
But we agree on most things.
Yeah, we agree on most things.
Yeah, and have like similar taste.
We have similar taste in people with who we want to work with.
And like our overall like vision, I feel like is
there's not one of us that's like, we need to sell out, we need to do this, and she's like, I want to retire and drive away. There's none of that stuff. We're just kind of coasting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have similar aesthetic visions, or do you feel like that was something that one of you just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna take the lead on this? Because I can find it's very hard to like do collaborative aesthetic visions. That could be a little hard, difficult.
I mean, I know I would answer this. My definition of aesthetics is like everything in the background here, and then I just dress like I'm homeless, and then my wife shows up looking gorgeous, and she's like, all right, I'm ready. And I'm like stressed out, and I'm in like khakis and one sock. And So yin and
I
yang
think one
again.
time you had like holes in your boxers too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I have to force him. He never buys any clothes, you know.
It's a holdover from being broke, okay?
Yeah. We can't be
out.
perfect. Okay?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just aesthetics are we're just thinking about different things.
Yeah. And as far as like photo shoots go, like we've kind of like started to have more of a flow. Like we really used to bicker a lot when we first started doing that kind of thing. But
especially with photography.
Yeah. But it's so much better now.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Good. Give it time.
That's good.
You guys had mentioned scheduling is a big part of your consistency and your growth. And what else do you guys do to balance your personal life from your adult industry kind of work life?
This is a difficult thing for us.
We struggle with
it. It is hard. And if you
I don't know when to stop working sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, when you work for yourself, you know, when I had a job and I worked for a company, it was so easy to shut off after 5 p.m. because when you're working for someone else, the train of thought is kind of, why am I wasting my time if I'm not getting paid? And when you start working for yourself, it's just kind of like work never ends. And so for Jill, she will be in bed at 10 p.m. and she'll get an idea and she'll just start talking. And I'm like, no.
He's like, we're not doing this.
We'll get you a notebook to keep by the side of the bed.
Yes,
for all those good ideas.
Yeah. So we have a really hard time separating. And that's probably the biggest thing we haven't found a solution to yet. And I think the way we're handling it is just we're hedging our bets that as we get older and as we age, we will have more time to just enjoy ourselves. And we're kind of like, hey, we'll hustle and grind now with the hope of just sometime in the future being able to just sit on the porch and enjoy our coffee and not talk about work.
I can't see that for you guys though. You're so driven. You work all the time. I love watching you guys work. If it's working for you, keep doing it.
No, I see you guys with 2 giant mugs with, you know, a giant dog.
With 5 dogs.
And on some porch somewhere.
In
like,
I do too.
50 years or so. Yeah. But like
in my
like
40s.
30 years or so.
Sooner than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both enjoy working, but we definitely, there are definitely times, and especially now that we have a family, I think our what we want for ourselves has shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
But we do. I do feel really good when I'm working. But I'm learning to relax.
It gives me a sense of purpose when I'm working. Yeah, and that's important to me as like a human. So
yeah, but we definitely crave also like having that after like what's in the future. You know, something else. Yeah. And we talk about it a lot.
You want to know my favorite word? It's orgy. It just has such a nice ring to it. And guess what? This season of Cam Girlfriend is all about an orgy. You can catch the award-winning series on YouTube, and it explores the fascinating world of group sex. See you there. So what does that mean? What's a typical day like for you guys? So let's say it's a Saturday show. What are we waking up? What are we doing?
So Jill will get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, 5:30 to 6 a.m.
That's a recent development because we have a family now.
Yeah.
So
she gets up early. Yeah. She likes it early.
And I'm a terrible person and I don't wake up early.
Yeah. We had just sort of like realized that. It's just he's not going to be the early riser in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't force it. It's just not, you can't force it. If it's not there, it's not there. I truly do.
Sometimes he gets up for like 30 minutes. And I'll be like, he's getting up.
There's been mornings where I've gotten up, okay? There has been a few.
We've seen the sunrise a few times.
For doctor's appointments, probably.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's it.
But yeah, so I'm up early. And then when the nanny gets here, that's when I'm able to get ready. And I try to get ready as fast as I can so I can help him.
Yeah, but it inevitably ends up while she's getting herself all beautiful. I'm running around with one sock on and holes in my boxers, and I'm putting all the cameras setting everything up.
Yeah.
Occasionally I do it the night before, or at least do certain things the night before. But there's always something to do in the morning, if not just run around in circles and be stressed out.
Yeah.
So I spend about an hour getting the stream, everything set up so I can just hit the button and just be good.
It also depends too. Sometimes we host people, which actually happens most of the time. We have people, we have a guest area and people are here. So I'm usually getting them coffee or like talking, coordinating whatever we need to coordinate for the show, whether it's outfits or like the flow of the show. Or I always ask people like what they want to, like what do they want to do in the show? What do their viewers want to see? What kind of content do they need? That kind of thing.
There is a remarkably low level of planning that happens.
Yeah. It's very,
to be honest.
It's very like start time though?
Yeah, 11 a.m. is our start.
Usually.
Yeah.
If we can make it.
We're pretty good
early.
about. Yeah. I've found that personally, I can't speak for you, but I just love getting it. Maybe not over with is the right way to put it. But
the energy is there.
The energy is there. If you tapped me to
having
do
the rest
this
of your day as well.
Exactly at 8 p.m., I don't know if I could make it.
Yeah. Be rough.
The social and physical energy just one of them may be lacking.
Do you have any common requests from fans? Like, is there something that people just won't stop asking you guys?
They want to see us do swappy stuff. That's
swaps
all the time.
They want to see us
swaps and anal.
Like another couple. Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Which we've only done once.
I think firsts or kind of new things you haven't done are so exciting. Do you guys like that kind of anticipation of like switching it up a little bit?
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. I know,
because if people are...
Does Jack like his comfortable space? Like your routine?
Yeah, he does.
Are you nervous about setting up all the cameras? Because we know that falls on you.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of what I was talking about earlier, with like being stressed out and just trying to like perform. Like as a guy, you have limited control over like the functionality of your body, and I have this like right left brain kind of thing. If I'm messing with a camera, if I'm touching a camera in any way, like I can't be sexual, and I need some sort of like time in between the two. Like I cannot hold a camera and like be a cameraman and then just go right into it. Like I'm gonna have to jump off to the side and like get ready, so there's unfortunately
he's not a fluffer kind of guy. He likes his space and he'll come back when he's ready, and you just don't bother him. You
there's a reason for that though. So I mean,
well, everyone's kind of different, but that's how you are.
True. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize how much multitasking goes on during a cam show. On top
he's
of
doing a lot.
The sexual aspect. Yeah, so you're exactly right. You've got one half of your brain on all the tech side, and then one half is like trying to actually have a good time. It's incredible.
And there's not enough blood for that to get to the
There's not.
After all that, there's genuinely not enough time, not enough blood.
Yeah.
It's going one place or the other.
Yeah. Totally.
But you've like figured out a pretty, like you kind of know what to do most of the time. It works most of the time.
Yeah, I've got like my system, my like routine down, and sometimes things deviate from that. Things happen. So I mean,
do you have any performers that you've really enjoyed working with, swapping with?
The quick answer is yes. I'd say like 99% of our interactions are like overwhelmingly positive. It'd be like really difficult to like point at one person or two people and just kind of say that was a great experience, because I'd feel like I'd be like discounting other people we've worked with.
Yeah.
It's okay. You guys can say I'm your favorite. I won't tell anyone. It's fine.
Have you guys worked together?
I was actually
Yes!
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We have a couple of times. Yeah.
I need to do my research.
I'll send it a vid feed. It's great.
Yeah, how did I miss that? That's crazy.
Melissa, I was honestly about to go there, like right after.
Sure.
With that being said.
Well, you're my favorite couple, along with so many other people on CV for sure. And I know that your fans request a lot of like firsts and swaps and things for you, but our fans requested that we ask Jill for blowjob tips. So I'll let you wrap your brain for a second. But they are dying to know specifically, Jill, what are your blowjob tips?
Oh gosh, I think the most important thing for a good blowjob is like enthusiasm, like being into it. if the person that is receiving doesn't feel like you're into it, then yeah, it's not going to be a good blowjob. I really don't feel like you have to have all these crazy techniques or be able to deep throat, because I certainly can't deep throat him. But I think, you know, I
don't think anybody.
I think
no, I'm sure.
This is
I get it.
But I think it's really, you know, you have to also know what your partner's into. Do they like eye contact? Do they like, you know, a little bit of like dirty talk? Or for me personally, I really like it when he gives me feedback and tells me like I'm doing a good job. It like makes me want to, like, you know, I'm into like giving pleasure to whoever, you know. So I think it's more about like being into it, whether it's like minimal encouragers, like making a little bit of sounds when you're doing it, and like eye contact. But I also think a good combination of like hand sucking, using your hand while you're sucking, or like making sure like you like incorporate like balls too, you know, do it all. Just like be into it. I think that's more of the things you need to be into giving a blowjob if you want to give a good blowjob.
I love that.
Yeah, you gotta actually get into it.
Yeah.
Saw her do the movement. They were moving in opposite directions too.
I've watched him get himself ready, so I know where.
Ooh,
you know, you could all
the face palm.
Yeah, you can always watch your partner, whoever it is, like, you know, how they touch themselves, and try that too. See if they like it.
That's a really good tip, especially for those of us with cam model boyfriends.
Yeah,
yeah. What's the most adventurous place you guys have done it, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
No.
There's nothing too taboo that's happened, so we can answer that. There's 3 places that hop out.
Okay, 3 places.
3.
Tell us.
Okay.
One was when we were in Tahoe. We hiked up the mountain, and we were all by ourselves, of course.
Yeah.
And we were on the rim of the mountain, just looking down into the lake, and there was no one around, and we just had sex in front of like the mountains and the lake and everything.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
That's so romantic.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
It was romantic, and also
can I see the video of that one?
It's on
research
my
purposes.
Research purposes, of course. Yeah.
Is it still on there? It hasn't been taken down?
Oh, yeah, it might have been taken down.
It got taken down.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's been
it was there at one point.
Yeah.
The other one that comes out
the most
to me.
Adventurous one? Oh.
No, I mean, there's 3 that are like adventurous on different levels. We were on a family trip out in Utah.
Yeah, it was Utah.
And we were in a small town, like a little vacation town. And there were these bikes that we had at the Airbnb, and we had been on this family trip for like 5-6 days. So naturally the desire had built up by then. At least for me,
was it a Saturday or Sunday? Like clockwork?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know what day it was.
So we took this bike ride, and we were riding through this neighborhood that was completely under construction. It was a development that had no people living in it, and all the houses just had studs up. Some of them had like drywall and like siding on, and they were partially and so like none of the houses had front doors on them or anything. So I convinced Jill, I think under the guise of just saying like, ooh, how do these houses look on the inside?
It was definitely him that instigated it.
Yeah.
So.
And so, we had sex inside one of the buildings that was just completely under construction, while like looking out the window a little bit to make sure nothing weird was going on. No one was like walking
and had walls, or was it?
It had walls. It had walls. This particular place had walls, but no windows installed yet, and no front door yet. And then like the bottom floor didn't have like drywall or anything. It was just the studs, and then the second floor had the studs and the drywall done. So I remember
you guys already broke it. That's just not even fair. The house isn't even finished yet, and you already broke it in.
It's totally not fair. I still feel a little guilty about that. That homeowner thought they broke in their house. And then like the third one,
I was gonna say oral on the gondola in Russia.
Oh
yeah, that was pretty good. We had like
What's
a really
gondola?
nice,
like a boat.
Gondolas. It's like a ski lift.
Yeah, the little like circular.
Is that what a gondola is?
It's a gondola, right?
It's like a ski lift, but it was off season, so it was just a sightseeing kind of situation.
Yeah.
And I got a fear boner. And
what's a fear boner?
When you're terrified. Yeah, you don't know what a fear boner is? Come on.
Never had one.
It sounds like something a horror movie made up.
It's like when you're anxious and like the anxiety and fear of like performing like feed into the erotic nature of the moment.
Yeah.
So it is distinct from a normal boner. Okay.
Oh no, I have
We did
something new
record
on my
it, too.
bucket list.
I would recommend it if you can like make it work, because
And you've
usually
got
there's
one more.
passing by.
I
so
didn't
have
know
to be
you were going to
careful.
say that.
Ooh, yeah.
What?
I don't know you were going to bring that one up, but I know there's one more that comes to mind when we were staying in that hotel in Canada.
Yeah, well, we'd love to hear it.
This is a family trip.
This is another family trip.
Always the family trip. I feel like
I know, it's so bad.
To, like, get out of your comfort zone. Okay.
Right. There is a stage downstairs at this nice hotel we were staying at.
It was a theater.
Yeah, it was a theater. Sorry,
It was a theater
curtain.
in the hotel.
Yeah, it was a big auditorium, and behind the curtains there was a small dressing room, and we had sex in the dressing room.
Yeah, like a quickie. And then literally as I came out, my sister was like, "What are you guys up to?" And we're like, "Oh, either."
Us? Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy.
That's
you win.
Yeah, I think you win. Those are pretty wild.
Yeah. You know, it's funny though, because I've done a few scenes that were versions of what you guys have actually done. So thank you for inspiring the industry. Yeah, there was one that was like on a construction set, and like that's where they got the idea.
That is pretty awesome. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
We try to be ethical about it because I feel like nowadays people are trying to be like really gimmicky and do stuff in public. And a lot of it, in our opinion, there's like a big gray area and even an area you should just stay out of. And so we try to, whenever we do stuff like that, which is really rare.
Yeah. Doesn't happen.
We try to, at least if it's for professional reasons, we try to be really ethical about it. Make sure there's no one around in earshot, that we're in a private place, that it's legal to be filming there. So I will add that little asterisk there. Don't do what we do. You don't want to end up on the list.
We did ask you about your private life, you know, like professionally, I would agree. You guys are very ethical about the type of content that you create.
Yes, there's a very important distinction there.
Are there any hard no's you guys have as a couple, or maybe in your work life, that are involved with sex?
Like with other people or with each other?
Just in general.
Okay.
I mean, the obvious ones. You know, there's just obvious ones. We don't really hurt one another. I'm not into that. I'm not into any kind of like blood play. I mean, I know some people are, very few people are, but that's just, I cannot find that erotic in any fashion.
Yeah, I would say we err more on like the pleasure side of things.
Yeah, if it doesn't really feel good, then like, what's the point? But that's not necessarily a hard no. If someone told me they wanted me to do something to them that would not have been pleasurable, I mean, I would do it as long as it didn't fall under those like very obvious no's that things you cannot do on camera. We're also not very good role players, or we're not good at faking it. And
we're not going to get Jill in a nurse costume.
You
Just
might.
UPS guy.
I don't think we're like the best example for like people out there, but I think it is important that we're trying to sort of have a message about like ethical porn, and like we always try to show like consent in our videos, like applying lube, stopping, like we never cut that out of our videos. We never cut out when someone's like, hey, I need lube, or stop, we need to change positions, or like I'm done, like I'm can't do anymore, or whatever. I think like, especially for me, it's really important that people see that, because I think so much of what we see in like porn is not necessarily realistic. And I get so many messages of guys telling me like, oh, I got to be able to do this position, or, come this much, or do all these things. And I think we try to show people like this is also like us performing too. This isn't like what our sex life is like off camera.
Yeah. One thing when you were talking about kind of what you do on your show to make it more, I guess, to show like the realistic side of what sex with multiple partners is actually like. I think my favorite thing when I watch your shows is sometimes you mute the mic and you guys have your consent talk somewhat privately, but we're witnessing that. And I think a lot of people, especially like in pro porn, you never get to see that. There's a half-hour conversation that happens before we even turn the cameras on what we're going to do.
For sure.
And I really appreciate that you guys do that. I know you do it off camera, but sometimes you do it kind of on with the mic muted so everyone feels comfortable.
It depends.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we mute it too.
Exactly.
I've learned that if you don't mute it and you ask people the difficult questions live in front of everyone, they'll have a much harder time saying no. Like, for example, one of the most common things that women don't like doing on cam is like cream pies. And a lot of times it just doesn't agree with people's bodies, especially if you're working and you just got like a couple scenes a week. You want to make sure that you're going to be okay for your future scenes. And if you ask someone live in front of the entire audience, if that's okay, they'll feel pressured into saying yes. So just things like that, when we mute it, they feel more empowered to just be like, hey, I really don't want to do that. Whereas if you say no in front of the entire audience, then all of a sudden the audience wanting to see that, they'll say, she's ruining the scene. What is she doing?
Yeah. And sometimes it just takes a few of those comments to
ruin the mood.
Yeah. And I don't know, you never know what someone is self-conscious about. It could be like something really random about their body and they're like, okay, I don't want to do this position.
Or
And so we'll be like, okay, we're not going to do that. Because I've even had someone be like, hey, I don't want to do the shoot today because I'm worried about this. And then I've had to like talk to them and be like, we can work around that. Like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, I've had people show up and be like, I'm so nervous because I can't do.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
or
you don't have to do that.
Even like
We've had
oral
someone
stuff.
come here. We've had someone come here and be like, I really hope we're not having to do anal. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, like that's not a requirement. You're good.
No required anal.
I really hope you would tell them about the anal beforehand.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We just show up the day on set and be like, hey, you're having anal sex today. Live, mind you.
Yeah. Because you never know about other people's experiences that they've had. I've just heard lots of stuff. So yeah.
No, I think being in the adult industry gave me confidence to accept the things about myself that I was insecure about or just flat out didn't like. And I think it's really amazing that you guys make that almost part of your show by not making it part of your show. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do everything. You do not have to do the things that you don't like, and you're never pressured to do them. I think sometimes people think that we are into everything, but really we're just showing you our best moments, what we're actually really into, because we have the control and the power. So what advice would you guys give to yourselves looking back now when you first started in the industry?
This is a hard one because the advice I would have given myself is not the advice I would give the average person.
Oh, really? Why?
Camming. Yeah. Well, so like the advice that I would give someone that's starting out camming is to like not quit your day job. Like, a lot of people just love to cam, and then like the next week they're like, fuck it, and they quit everything, and they're like, I had a good week. My first week was great. This is what I'm going to do, without having to go through like the emotional and physical like difficulties of it, and trying to like really understand if this is right for them. And just not knowing it. There's like total ups and downs. There's good weeks and bad weeks and stuff. But I would go back in time and tell myself to take it a lot more seriously, because originally when we started, we were just going to pay off our loans, and then we were just going to disappear into obscurity and just act like it never happened, and just try to scrub ourselves off the internet.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
We want you to stick around forever now. So that's so funny.
Oh, you're stuck with us now.
Yeah. We love that,
totally. So I think I would tell myself to just take it a little bit more seriously, sit up straighter, talk louder, do better.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to answer because I feel differently than I did when I started. This was all so brand new to me.
Jill is not a sexual deviant.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of my friends are on
am.
camera. Yeah, it's kind of always been that way, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard for me to answer. Yeah, because I've changed so much just doing this.
What would you tell yourself not to be afraid to change?
Yeah, maybe that it's okay. I think I had a hard time, feeling like proud of what we do for work. I think that took me like a long time to be like, okay, you went to school for all this time. And so I think I don't know if I call it like shame, but had like a hard time like accepting, okay, this is what I do for work. And then I can have like a normal life outside of this. I think just like learning to like some acceptance of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, depending on how you look at it, there's a lot of wasted years there. Like we both went to school for 6 years. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys are too hard on yourselves. I don't think any of that is wasted. I think it makes you who you are. But I definitely understand what you mean financially.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any major turn-ons during sex? Or
definitely for me, maybe not enthusiasm's the right word, but just like being present and being into it. So occasionally with performing and doing adult work, sometimes you have a show on Saturday and you have to be there, and you can't plan being into it. And so like seeing people be really into it, it's everything for me. If someone's not into the moment, if they're not having a good time, that turns me on so much, is seeing someone have a good time, seeing someone who's really enjoying the experience. So that for me, that's it. Like I will not get turned on if someone's doing something they don't want to do. Like I can't get turned on. Like I will totally notice, and
that's
I'll
very
just be
true
like,
for him.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why like I don't like to do certain things, because I know a lot of women just don't enjoy doing it. And if I see someone in pain or uncomfortable, it's just like, it's not hot to me.
So no reverse cowgirl with legs up. That's a no for Jack.
I might make an exception for that.
That's always the big joke. Who actually does that one in their personal life? But,
right, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
a little side panel joke is I had a guy who was a virgin on OnlyFans message me, and he was like, I'm a virgin. I really want to lose my virginity. He's in his mid-30s, mind you. And he's like, I'm just worried I couldn't do stand and carry. And I was like, what? People don't do that in their personal life. But he was legitimately like, I'm going to lose my virginity and I'm scared because I don't know if I could lift this girl up and have sex in the air. And I'm just like, dude, you don't have to worry about that.
And when you do it, it seems like a while, but he's not doing it that long. You know what I mean?
You get like 3 pumps.
Yeah. It's not
your
that long.
arms burn out pretty fast.
It's the legs and the arms. Like that's a lot. That's a big workout.
Yeah.
What about you? What are big turn-ons for you, babe?
For me, the camera is a big, like once he turns the camera on, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, okay, I'm in like Jill mode. Like I'm able to like transition like into like performer, and I get like very excited. And I also, I don't know, I like being an exhibitionist, and like people watching me turns me on. And I also like when we do a show and the person that we're working with, like they make really good money and they're super excited about the experience. And they're like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I just made a lot of money. And we're like, fuck yeah. Like that makes me feel like really good.
That's not necessarily sexual gratification.
Okay,
but
sorry. It turns me on. I don't know. It's like a different kind of turn on, I guess.
I share that with you, though.
I feel like
that
Jill's a little bit of a...
Yeah.
I was like, are you a little bit of a pleaser? Like you want to see your partner
definitely.
happy?
Yeah, I would rather give than receive. I get really uncomfortable when people are like, let me do that to you. And I'm like, wait, no.
If we stuck Jill in the middle and had
Don't
someone
do
else
that
here
to me.
and she was the center of attention,
I get really weirded out. And I'm like, no. I'll just, let me do this to you. Yeah. I'm just used to it. I think we've done so many shows where I have that role. I'm just very used to it. It's like, more second nature for me.
We're at like the very, very, very tail end, and we like to do this thing called this or that. Likes to do this thing. We'd love to start doing this thing called This or That, really. And it's just, little rapid fire question. Breakfast sex or dinner sex?
Ooh, breakfast sex.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
Role play or foreplay?
Foreplay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I see this one here, but I feel bad even asking it. Anal or oral?
Oral.
I said we were different and we're all answering the same thing.
Doggy or missionary?
Missionary.
Doggy.
Nice. We got one, though. Now we got one. Why doggy, Jill?
Yeah.
Missionary and him and me and missionary. I don't know. It
for some reason
the
anatomy doesn't like work.
I will do it on occasion.
Doesn't feel.
But I'm
good
usually like 10 seconds later, like, okay, switch.
I just know
no,
it's like
it's my.
It's like the
it
shape.
clicks. It like. I don't know. He's very curved. And like, I don't know something about it. I'm like, oh my God, it's too deep. I don't.
It's not though.
I get what you mean, though.
It just feels really deep that way. And I can't control anything. I'm at the mercy of him.
That's what it is.
I like on top.
So
I like to be a control.
So wait, did we ask what your favorite sex position is together?
Oh,
I'm going to guess cowgirl.
Spooning.
Spoon.
Personal life or
on
spooning?
cam?
Personal life. Your favorite.
Spooning. Lazy. Just
little lazy.
Disgustingly lazy. Just.
Who's the big spoon?
Oh,
me.
always.
Come on.
I'm just kidding.
If he tries to start,
I was like, wait a second. It doesn't make sense.
He tries to start a different way.
Well, thank you guys for being our fantasy today. Thank you for sharing your amazing talent with Chatterbait, with Sex Tales. We adore you guys, as do your fans, and we can't wait to see what more you guys have coming up.
Thank you so much for having us.
Episode, and we actually got through it. It was good.
We did it.
Yay.
We did. Everyone survived.
Nice. Well, hopefully we can do another one sometime.
Hopefully.
You can find us on Twitter, Jack plus Jill with underscores on either side.
Mm-hmm.
OnlyFans, J and J BTS, and on Chatterbait under Jack and Jill.
This was such a good episode, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for the invitation. We loved it.
Thanks for having us.
We can't wait to have you guys back again.
Hey, Sex Squad. Remember to spank that like button and subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/camminglife.
And make sure to subscribe to Sex Tales wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Yes.